All right. So as we can see with pile number 1 in Pinpoint composting, my temperature is going down. So number 2 is up there in 20. I just added some stuff yesterday, so it's back up to 120. And we're going to show you how we fluff. Now we're going to see if we can reactivate. I might be done with this. My thermophilic stage might be totally complete here, but I'm going to get a lot of nitrogen in the form of urine for the most part, and a lot of liquid that's from jars that I've rinsed out and stuff like that. So let's get started with that. All right, everybody, welcome to the Eve Growing Concepts. Today we're going to do another Pinpoint composting. We got pile 1 and pile 2. Pile 2, we're in the green, so we're in 120. I'm still filling that up with all kinds of household organic, and pile 1 has been going strong like some hot furnace for literally 3 months, over 3 months, in the degrees of 150 to 160, easily that long. So it's baking, and now as you noticed, it's going down to, we're just going down to 130. So I think the thermophilic stage after over 3 months is pretty much complete, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to reactivate that heat. And the way I'm going to do that is, since I've already had it packed with all kinds of house compost and slurry, just like I did this one, and those of you who are following my videos knows what I'm talking about. This is more of a carbon now. It's more dry, I think, and we'll take a look at this pile, and I think we're going to find that it's more of a dry carbon source, like dried leaves or something like that, even though for many weeks and months I've been putting all of our house organics, and those who follow my channel know that there's nothing that's off limits. The no-nos. We compost everything. So let's take a look at this pile. Let's see how we're going to reactivate it, and we'll go from there. All right, so here we go. You know, my eyes were looking at the recording button as I was talking. I should have been looking at the camera. Don't tell my wife that, all right? All right, so let's take this off and see what it looks like. Again, we are at almost just over 130 here. And I want to talk real quick about thermometers. And I want to talk real quick about thermometers and give a plug to one and the other. This one I bought. This one here I bought. I don't like it. Notice the moisture in it. Can you see the moisture in there? This one has a crack, but these ones do really good. Now put the difference between both of them. This one, this style, this one has been very good to me. I bought many of these ones here, and here's another one like the one that you shouldn't buy, and I should put a Amazon review, but see the moisture in there? These are brand new, by the way. These two are brand new, and I'm getting moisture, and see the way the needle wiggles? Can you see that? It wiggles when you move it around, unlike this style here. And again, I'll put a link to this particular thermometer, is the one that I'm enjoying, and I plan on doing a Amazon review on that, because these ones here are pretty much the same price line, but I'm disappointed in these, and I like this one. So that's just a side note. All right, put those down. Let me get my gloves on. I hope I have them here. I do. Do I have a right and left? I do. And so let's, pile 1 of Pinpoint composting. Again, what we're talking about here is 2.5 by 3 feet high is what this thing is. It's such a tiny little machine that the creator of all gives us, that you don't have to plug in. All right, so let's take this off and take a look at it. Again, so very tight, tiny, you don't have to plug it in, and it's just amazing. And those of us who have a residential piece of property or a bigger piece of property, we have no excuse. We can compost all of our organics. I want you to think about all that weight that we're stopping from going to the landfill, all the energy we're going to save by doing this. All right, so let's see here. All right, this again is just a dog crate, a medium-sized dog crate. Don't get an extra large one. Medium is perfect size, that I picked up on Facebook for free. I always cover it with plastic to retain the moisture. And as you're looking at this stuff, you can see that it's lacking some moisture, but I'm just going to pour the liquid right in here, then I'm going to fluff it. And the nitrogen I'm going to use is my own #1 output, all right? This here is some worm This is some worm liquid that comes from my worm farm in the basement, so I'm going to pour that in there. Let's try to get it all even as that soaks down in there. And then after we do that, we'll fluff it up. We don't want that. We don't want to fluff it up first because that water will go right through to the bottom. We don't want to do that. We want it to go slowly, trying to get all of it. And I think for the most part, this is just a guess, what's crazy about doing gardening and experimenting, you always have to wait. Pain in the butt. So if gardening teaches me anything, is patience. And I haven't learned that lesson very well because I'm always anxious to see the results. And I think this thermophilic stage could be complete, could be all done, but we'll see if I can reignite it one more time for a couple more weeks into the 140, 160 range. I think that'd be good. And then after that, I'll use this as worm bedding. I think it'll be perfect for that. Or I'll just put it in a grow tower and grow food with it. So let me get my other awesome nitrogen right here, proving that all is sacred, nothing wasted. Now this stuff has been sitting in bottles, depending on which bottle it is, for a long time. So it's almost smelling like bleach. My awesome #1. I try as best I can not to put my outputs in our water supply because these people, they don't know what to do with it. They'll send it down to the sewer system and they'll treat it with all kinds of different chemicals, and then they'll send it back to us, all chlorinated and fluorinated. And I don't think that's very good. I think that's not the right thing.
And humans have always peed and pooped, of course, but where it goes after we've done our business has changed a lot, especially in the last 160 years. Point of fact, the water you just drank may well have been part of someone's urine just weeks ago. Tasty.
People say that our sanitation system is like one of the wonders of the world. And in my own personal opinion, I think we have to look back and think of a better way to do it. And I think with Eve Growing, we're almost getting there. And it's amazing that you could put your outputs, you could put your #1 in here so you don't have to necessarily go find a place to go. You just have a jar and you go in it. So you could put a bathroom in your shed, especially for #1. You could put it in your basement. You could put it anywhere, right? I always say, kiddingly, what intelligent animal deliberately defecates in their water supply? Only we humans. So there's 1, 2, and I got this bleach bottle too that I don't necessarily like using, but it'll be fine. Mother Nature will take care of it. Pour that all in there wet. Now, I might put the fire out, or I might reactivate it. What we're trying to do is introduce nitrogen into this carbon that was once nitrogen. So we're kind of very confusing, I know. But, you know, I started with carbon nitrogen with this particular #1. Those who follow my channel know that I was using minced cardboard, micro-shredded cardboard. If you're thinking of making soil, let me just tell you that a micro shredder is the best investment you can do. Get one that takes the most papers. I have one that does 20. I've seen one that does 24. So, and I use my paper shredders. I work them like a workhorse. So let's fluff this up now. I'll get this ice auger, which does a great job. And you know what, I should have poked a rod in here, because you'd notice when you poke a rod in to let air holes in, it would cave in on itself because it was so dry. Now when I do it, now that I liquefied it, it'll be a lot easier to put a hole in there because of the wetness to the dryness, right? Oh, and this, if you look down, this is really wet now. So I might have put the fire out. And by the end of the video, I'll show you one way or the other. Oh, here's some dry here. I thought I drenched it. That's why we're gonna mix it around. Now, if you guys followed my last video, pile 2 ended up getting some black soldier fly larvae in it. The one that my tripod's on right now. I'm excited about that, but not too much, because I still got to fill it up. And no doubt I'll be killing a lot of black soldier fly larvae in the process. But Anyway, I'm gonna fluff it up really good. And it was up to here, and now it's all dropped down because it is composting. The next phase of this, if I add it to a tower, I'll just add some worm castings and maybe some lime. Or again, I might use it in some of my worm beds and just use this as a bedding. As long as the thermophilic stage is completely over. And that, as I've said, you know, I know a lot of people get mad. Not mad, but they just don't agree with keeping your compost as hot as you can for as long as you can because it kills the biodiversity. I contend that biodiversity will indeed come back. Look at these bones. They just crack after 3 months. So everything goes in here. Not human ore though. Human ore I'm processing a different way. I'll do a video on that. Very touchy subject when you start talking about human ore, especially for those who don't agree with it. But again, hot composting, you get your hot bins up to over 130 or 140 for many months at a time, you're killing the pathogens. And if red wigglers indeed kill pathogens or greatly reduce pathogens as well, we've got some sure safe ways of controlling dangerous pathogens that Mother Nature gives us freely. So we're gonna see. I'm anxious to see if I can get back up to 160 with this pile, because it was definitely going down. The last time I fluffed it, I didn't add anything, and it didn't really go up that much. So we gonna see. All right. So that's how you fluff it. So easy. You don't have to take it all apart. You just fluff it up with this thing, this ice auger. And if you get an ice auger, on Facebook is where I got mine, make sure you get a smaller version. I did a video on the two that I got. I got one that's a little bigger. In fact, let me go get it just for here, just to show you. Maybe it's not so bad. All right, here's a crow. My son keeps calling me. He's got lunch made for me. And he keeps calling me and it interrupts my video. So, all right, let's try this again. Where were we? All right, so there's the different sizes. Here. I like this one because it's a little easier to manage, but this one being bigger fluffs up more area, more surface area. So let's see. Let's try that again. As I've said in my other video about this thing, I'm thinking of selling it and making my money off both of them back. See, this is harder. It's too fat. Don't bother with this one. And you know what? Again, I'll put a link to the ones that they sell on Amazon. I've never used one, but I'm anxious to see how they work. They're too expensive for me for what it's worth. But, all right, so I fluffed it up best I can. I added some of my awesome outputs to it. Then I fluffed it up, and now I'm going to add some holes to it. I'm going to get the Excalibur here. I'm going to start with some big holes. See, that's holding nice. I wish I would have videoed before, because stuff falls right through the hole. So now we've got aeration through. I usually do, like I said in my other videos, I usually do 9 holes and then I poke a bunch of little ones in there. So this is going to be interesting, right? Stay tuned to the very end to get the exciting news whether I put this thermophilic composting out of its heating process for good by putting too much nitrogen, or am I reactivating it and therefore killing everything. Everything, again, killing everything, of course. All right, now, and very little smell. There's a little bleach type smell from my ones that have been sitting for a while, but that's about it. When I put the plastic over this, that smell will be gone. And as you can tell, it's a very hot day, and if it was something the flies would want to get at, there'd be a few around by now, as much as I've had this open, and we're seeing none. Okay? So, if your compost stinks, you're doing something wrong. You gotta fix it. It might have been known to stink, but cover properly with the right amount of carbon. Always cover with a carbon. 3 rules, right? Cover, cover, cover. Cover with a dry carbon should do it. All right, so that. So that will retain the moisture and the heat, that plastic bag, and you'll know you get enough air because your heat is going back up. So you're creating an aerobic bin rather than an anaerobic situation, right? This helps keep the rain out. We've been getting a lot of rain here in Connecticut, and I'm so glad I have these covered because my heat would have been out by now with too much water. That would be in the nitrogen. So I'll end this right now, and I will put, I keep looking at the recording dot and not the camera. So if my eyes go to the left and looking like some kind of an idiot, you'll know why. So that's it. I'll give you the temperature at the end, tomorrow or the next day, and then I'll upload this video, and it'll go into my Pinpoint composting playlist, which I'll put the link in the information section. Okay, we can do this, folks. We have to take responsibility. We can't keep continuing to let these corporate entities who have a hold on our government, and they have the money to change it in their favor. We have to learn to do the very basic things in life, and one of the most important survival skills you can do, and I've said this before, and I'll probably repeat it again and again, is you gotta learn how to turn your organics into soil. You have to learn to make soil as if your life depends on it, because in all reality it does. We have to close the loop, folks. We have to create a permanent culture. And we all can do this. And the ones who can do it the most are the wealthiest and the people who live in places that have a little land. Again, I have a little dinky grid that I have 2 piles. I'm gonna have many piles because I'll be breaking down all kinds of different stuff. And I'll be using, of course, cold composting, hot composting, vermiculture, and of course I'm gonna get into the black soldier flies, which I'm so excited to. And that's all I have. My name is Mark from Eve Growing. God bless, and over and out. We will most certainly heal this planet, one urban farmer at a time.